Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel, wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice Sunday morning here. This video is actually being recorded on the 5th of November, which is Saturday. I wanted to record a video in advance because tomorrow I'll be traveling, so I won't really have internet connectivity. So if you're trying to reach out, then probably Monday is when I'll be a little bit more settled in, if that is relevant. Anyways, other than that, I wanted to go over a higher term time frame macro analysis for Bitcoin here. Just looking at Bitcoin, obviously, I've made my thoughts quite clear about traditional markets and Dixie, but as far as Bitcoin goes, I wanted to point out a few things that I think are very, very interesting coming into the end of this year, 2022, and then also going into next year, 2023, obviously. All right, so first and foremost, let's start it off right over here with the accumulation distribution indicator on the monthly time frame. I still look at this as potential major hopium. And what essentially is the hopium? Well, let me explain the indicator first. The indicator itself has been incredibly accurate at getting macro shifts in direction for Bitcoin throughout the full history, with slope changes in the extreme zones on this indicator is what I'm trying to say. So what do I mean by extreme zones and what do I mean by slope changes? I mean these green vertical bars here where you see the slope change. If it's in the case of, these green areas, going to be from up to down, and if the case of the red areas, from down to up. And just looking at the chart, you can quite clearly see, or very easily see, that while it's not like picture perfect, nothing is obviously, it gets the overall moves incredibly fucking well, especially relevant for the higher term timeframes. So the reason why I'm bringing it up right now is because of two reasons. One is that the slope of the accumulation distribution indicator is actually still red coming into November here, but it is starting to lose its curvature to the downside. Also of interest is that anytime that we've seen the accumulation distribution indicator get around where the green horizontal bar currently is, which I do not have marked off as far as those intersections between the indicator and price, but you can kind of visualize it yourself. These areas have been actually more bang on with the actual low itself. You can see that we actually passed that area in August to September. On top of that, if we were to draw a regression from the low lows here that we saw in August of 2015, you can see that we're actually hitting the same regions thus far. Now, this is connected with the lows that we saw in the 2018-2019 saga right here. So ultimately, if we do start to see this curve up coming into December, that's going to be a good indication, a pretty powerful indication that Bitcoin's going to be trying some pretty nice upside before anything else. I can still come down later, but it'd probably happen in like Q2 of 2023 if it's going to be happening. Similar to what you had back here off of 2019, this low over here, nice big old pumpola, eventually comes back down on the old Rona fears, but ultimately, these were big moves nonetheless, which I think is probably relevant, or hopefully relevant, I'd say. Anyways, moving on now, I wanted to get into the monthly for this chart here. Again, looking at Bitcoin, and also there is something rather interesting. The monthly RSI is going to have a chance to plot hidden bullish divergence for the first time since actually the end of the 2018-2019 bear market, which actually bottomed on the same indication here, hidden bullish divergence. And that will be confirmed again end of month with any sort of a closure above, especially 21,000 bucks or so, would do it in this case. To take that one step further, I wanted to bring back this chart over here. This is the monthly stochastic oscillator chart, and you can see that the monthly stochastic oscillator is in some pretty dire straits right here. Like, it's the lowest level it's ever been, but that provides the opportunity for a couple different things. First and foremost, we do see a nice regression coming in from all of the lows starting in 2012, getting the lows in 2015, again in 2018, 2019, and potentially right here as well. And the thing with that is that we can actually forecast what price would be needed to close at the end of this month of November in order to force this baby back up, which would be 21,700 basically. So if you see Bitcoin close above that level, end of this month, November, very likely to see a nice extended rally on the monthly. And also just showing you the results here as well. I should show you, like, these have been macro lows in the past. Doesn't mean it's always going to be like that, but in this case, a little bit more hopium, on the overall analysis. Anyways, now let's dip back down over here and go into the weekly time frame, a very low-term time frame, but useful nonetheless. And Bitcoin's gonna have a chance to do a few things. Keeping in mind that the weekly volatility is at significant lows. It's not like all-time lows, but anytime you get below like 10 percentile, I mean, that's pretty fucking low historically speaking. So in this case, we are expecting a big, dare I say, macro move coming into the end of the year here, maybe even the beginning of 2023 as well. And as far as indicators go, they do paint, well, a better picture, I suppose, as the weekly RSI is putting in a bit of a falling pizza or falling wedge for the normies out there. You can see that it actually will have a chance to break above at the end of this week, Sunday. So upon closure at, I believe it's 6 or 7? 7 or 8, 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know, with all the fucking clocks changing in the last week, which I fucking hate, by the way. I absolutely fucking hate it. Like, seriously, this goddamn thing needs to stop, man. I've had enough of it. It's destroying my sleep. But in this case, if you do see it close above, I probably would be looking for continuation, at least to the neutral zone at 50. Probably even the edge of the bullish control zone, which we can actually forecast what price would be at that level. Of course, it's going to change each and every week, but gives us like a generalized idea. It'd actually be, this is Caretaker's RSI, by the way, so that's how I'm doing this. It'd actually be about a little over $31,500. Again, that number's going to change, but gives us like a generalized guide. On top of that, weekly Jewel is also getting a nice upside signature here, started back in middle of October, basically. And if we were then to align that with another higher term time frame, statistically based analysis, I'd bring you over here to the 5-day time frame chart. So this one has been incredibly fucking accurate. Basically since we've been back testing it for like the last 5 years now. And it is this. It's a volatility versus momentum signature here. Volatility represented by the BBWP indicator. Basically anytime it gets below, hey, where's my damn chart? There we are. Anytime it gets below 15 percentile or more, I define that as extreme lows for this time frame. The expansion phase that naturally comes after those extreme lows over the last 5 years has led to an average move about just over 42% over the course of like a month and a week, 37 days almost. And the stochastic oscillator in the past 5 years has actually been perfect at getting the direction. Don't expect that to always hold to fruition, obviously. Like nothing's going to ever be perfect, but so far so good. And we have, a decent amount of iterations here. I mean, obviously I'd like to see, like 100, but this is as much as we can get. So just doing the best that I can with this one. A couple things of interest. The 5-day stochastic oscillator is currently headed to the upside, and will be remaining with upside curvature as long as Bitcoin's closing above $19,000 on the next period, which closes actually tonight, Sunday night, assuming that you're viewing this on Sunday. Again, I'm recording this on Saturday, but if Bitcoin does close above there, the momentum remains to the upside, and then we just need to see volatility expansion from these extreme lows to fully confirm the signature, and then we can start to look at these percentages as areas of interest to the upside. Until that point, there is still risk to the downside, obviously, and these numbers can just as easily be applied to the downside. And that's the whole thing with this. When you're looking at these sort of signals, you can front run them, but it obviously comes out of cost benefit analysis. If you front run it, well, the benefit is you potentially get more returns. The cost is that it will have a lower hit rate, naturally speaking. It's unconfirmed, obviously. Be getting the move faster. But in this case, if we were looking at this, just put in perspective, 40% to the upside would put Bitcoin above the summer highs. So that could potentially be something to look forward to if that does get confirmed. But these are all things, again, on very high term timeframes here. So this is probably not going to be happening this week or next week for that matter. Although there is a major catalyst this week. There's going to be CPI prints coming out and also US midterms, which does kind of bring up the conversation of, is this a trap or not, that we're seeing right now? Definitely possible. But ultimately, these are going to be relevant at the end of the month. The end of the month is when we'll check back in on them, see where we're at, and then see what's most likely for the next few months to come. And I think that's a good place to be leaving off on this particular video. I want to take a second to wish you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.